Are you healthy? What up, Josh? Rubin from Metabolic Healing for Once. Today I want to talk to you about the thermometer. The thermometer is a great way to see. It's cheap. It'll cost you maybe $5, if that. A great one that we use that we like is this. Of course, a lot of people say, well, mercury's better. You should use mercury. It's more accurate. Well, it's hard to find a mercury thermometer. Most people aren't going to walk around with a mercury thermometer in their pocket. So, booyah comes Safety First Digital, 21st century or whatever it is. Anyway, are you healthy? That's the YouTube for today. We have so many people out there saying, well, you know, I can eat raw meats and it's great. It heals me. I feel great on the paleo diet. I'm eating my metabolic typing and I feel great. I'm a bodybuilder and I'm vegetarian and I look great. I'm all lubed up. I'm a bodybuilder eating protein and I look great. Well, the problem is, physiologically, are you really healthy? You know, you're working with someone, they actually help you get better. They eliminate a lot of your fatigue. They eliminate a lot of your symptoms. The question is, are you really healthy? Well, I don't want to give you a whole lecture on this because we could spend 2-3 hours easily lecturing you on the thermometer. Well, we use this with people as well as certain other tests that are actually inexpensive. You don't have to spend tons of money on lab tests, you know, feel funny doing it, feel like a lab rat, and really get nothing out of it because most people are just treating the lab as I talked about. But what you can learn from this little device is quite profound. And like I said, number one, it's inexpensive. Number two, it's very convenient. Number three, you can carry it around with you. Number four, don't share it. But the great thing about it is what you're doing. Because everyone says, well, what I'm doing is working. I'm healthy. I've lost 30 pounds. Well, you know, like I said, it's not about losing weight or doing these things. It's actually about getting healthy to get the results that you want. So if what you're doing you think is so awesome and works so well, what I want to do is I want you to test this. I want you to eat your foods, do what you do, drink your protein, eat your egg whites, drink your protein shakes, you know, clear out a room with your gas because it smells like a nuclear time bomb. What I want you to do is 20 minutes after you eat your meal, 20 minutes, sit down, take your temperature in your mouth, not armpit or rectal, in your mouth. Take your temperature 20 minutes after you eat. Not sure if I said this. 20 minutes after you eat. And what I want you to do is post what your temperature is. Now, I will guarantee that most of you are below 98. If you're below 98, 97, 96.5, 97.4, that means your body is in an inflammatory, stressed response. So when people like to email me on Facebook or argue with me, maybe that's how I see it, who knows. It's all good and dandy. The bottom line is what you're doing working? And you're going to sit here and argue with me when I get a 98.4, 98.6 throughout the day, and I'm eating sugar. If your body's in an inflammatory state, you're going to be below 98. If you're below 98, the bottom line is this. Now, there's other things we look at, so I'm simplifying it. Your body is pumping out adrenaline and cortisol. It is doing this because you're not getting enough of the right types of carbohydrates or sugars into the body. And you're not able to store it in your liver as glycogen, or you're using it inefficiently. Now, when this happens and the body doesn't have enough sugar, or we could say just carbohydrate, when it's stressed, you're studying all the time, emotional stress, you're working, you're overtraining, you're taking medications, who knows. When this happens, the body wants to bring sugar and oxygen to the cells as fast as possible. Without them, you die. And if you don't have enough stored glycogen, or you're not eating the right foods, the body releases adrenaline and cortisol to break down muscle tissue to provide the body with enough glucose, called gluconeogenesis. The problem with this is twofold, and I'll continue with that process in a minute. If you eat lots of muscle meats, I don't care if they're raw, cooked, flipjacked, and packed, I don't care what you do with them, most of them contain high amounts of tryptophan. This tryptophan in the body actually creates excess storage in the muscle tissues of serotonin. It actually increases tryptophan synthesis in the brain. This leads to inflammation, downregulation of the thyroid, drowsiness, depression, you name it. So it's stored in the tissues. At the same time, most of the foods people are eating, or the supplements are taking, contain high amounts of unsaturated fatty acids. Well, these unsaturated fatty acids lodge into your tissues. They actually pull vitamin E out of your blood to lower vitamin E in the blood. So most people show up maybe vitamin E deficient. At the same time, when you go through the stress response, you have the tryptophan in the PUFAs, or the unsaturated fats, in your muscle tissue. So when you break these down for sugar, you actually release these into the blood and into your body, which creates even more inflammation. So you pump adrenaline and cortisol up even more, which perpetuates that continual loop of inflammation. Now, when this keeps happening, blood sugar will drop and then go up. Insulin kicks in like that. At the same time, the second insulin goes off, estrogen's going to go off. Now, estrogen goes off as well to lower blood sugar. And that's one of the ways you can actually become estrogen dominant from the stress response. And Hans Selye showed us way back when, was still trying to argue it. He showed it way back when. I can't remember the date. Early 1900s, something like that. Look him up, Hans Selye. So when this happens, you can go through that hypoglycemic, hyperglycemic type of scenario. Most of the time, hypoglycemic. And you still end up with not enough blood sugar to actually let your body survive. And of course, there's other things that are excreted, like prolactin, which leaches calcium from the bone, which can cause osteoporosis. Estrogen actually will stimulate parathyroid hormone, which will actually pull calcium from the bone and lead to bone degradation, inflammation, obesity, diabetes, all these different things. So how do we downregulate that? Well, unfortunately, you have to work with me. So hopefully you've enjoyed this YouTube clip. Hopefully you'll use this little tool right here in order to see if what you're doing is actually working. Because if you're so convinced that if what you're doing is working, then you should have a 98, 98.6 temperature. Now, don't take it after going in the sauna. Don't take it after running around and working out. You have to be sitting 20 minutes after your meal. And you will see that maybe what you're doing and the healthy foods you're eating is really not working for you. And if they're not, your body's in a stressed, inflammatory state, moving towards a hypothyroid state, which creates bacterial overgrowth in the small intestine, which creates issues in the liver secondary to the liver not being able to detoxify estrogen, leading to puffy skin, bloating, gas, bacterial overgrowth, immune system overload, puffy skin, PMS, eczema, skin problems, acne, mood problems, infertility, hypertension, diabetes, obesity, insulin resistance, arthritis. See you later.